So now we have a kick and a snare, and I want a hi-hat. I could run the hi-hat in here because the group editing is not that dramatic, but I think it's good to sort of keep this group and sort of really look at this, as I said before, as a sound design session that you can come back to and change and make different breaks with. So we'll just keep this separated out, and then as you go, you can get more sort of elaborate with your layering and stuff in here. Again, we're just on the first pad. We'll just make sure, again, we go back to the sound level so that we can load an instrument, and we'll use the hi-hat engine synth. Very similar to the snare and the kick now, again with very similar parameters and different engine modes. Again, also we are going from this, which is essentially an 808, to an even more sort of, I don't know what this would be like, but like an even more sort of proper synthesizer sound. Here we are in more of a 909, and then here with a hybrid. This one you can go a little bit sort of down the real sounding hi-hat road, although all of them do sound fairly digital, but it's not really a problem. I quite like that. So in terms of the hybrid, let's use this one. I'm gonna pitch it up a little bit. Let's just go there. I'm just using the mouse quickly now. And now here in the tone we have got a couple of words like color and metallic and strike and character. Again, to really get sort of a good feeling for what these do, you're going to have to just kind of experiment with them a little bit, because again, these are not just technical parameters. These are a little bit, like, just as I said before, a bit made up. Now here, I quite like it a little bit softened, so we lose a little bit of the strike. Just keep a bit of it. And this character really goes from the sort of more ringing to the very nice sort of tight and controlled. That's what I quite like for this. Color, we're really looking at sort of EQ balance. All right, now if we just let the pattern run, just quickly, I want to program in quickly an 8 hi-hat, just straightforward. I'm going to use note repeat. Set it up to 8, which is what I want. And now you can just, if you keep it pressed, it will just sort of always play 8. What's also cool is that obviously these are velocity sensitive pads, so now by just pressing it, you can get all these sort of velocity kind of rhythms in it. Let's do some recording. So now we just have like, a little bit of a velocity kind of swing in there. It's just kind of quite a cool and expressive way to program hi-hats really quickly, or any kind of percussion. I always find that quite beneficial. Just go in here, and now that I'm listening to it, it could just still be a little bit shorter. Just take down the levels of them just a tiny bit. Now already I've done with the velocity something along the lines of a bit of movement in there, but hi-hat is still something that I end up sidechaining quite a lot. It just might be handy to just quickly do a little bit of sidechaining on here. Again as well, I really want to sort of look at this project as a project and come back to tweak all the parameters, change the sound, and keep on resampling your own beats from it, and just kind of end up with a limitless kind of drum supply. So if we go out of mix, just load up the internal compressor. Now you've got the standard parameters for a compressor, also different modes here, the feedback or just the standard, the classic compressor. We'll just use the classic here. For sidechaining, I want the knee up and the attack all the way down and the release fairly fast. But obviously for the sidechaining, I'm going to need to select the channel. So the way you do that is you go into the second page, and you can see here that you have the sidechain input. First parameter is source, and now let's just set it to one of the kicks. It doesn't really matter, they have a similar kind of envelope going on. You could filter the frequencies there, just to sort of, for instance, if you have a full break, you could sort of filter it so that you only kind of look at the low end of the top end. but in this case it's just a kick. One thing it's quite handy, to be honest, is if you want to see, you know, your gain reduction here, it's just worthwhile going into the mixer view, and you can just see here quite quick overview of, you know, your gain reduction here already, and just kind of influence it a bit. You can really hear already there that it's having an effect. If we just enable here sort of compressor and drag this compressor onto the same channel, then hit Alt for a quick copy of the same thing. Now if we go here on the software in the second instance and the sidechain input, we can just select the snare here. You could also select the entire bus, obviously up to you where you want to get your controls from. And now we are sidechaining to both the kick and snare with two different compressors. We can do the snare a little bit less, for instance, if we wanted to do that, or kind of really sort of get the, you know, this sort of different types of rhythms and kind of get that balance between the kick, the snare, the hi-hat, and the sort of dynamic, you know, merging of all of them. You know, you got good control over this. Now, sort of these would be sort of a starting point set of drums. Like I could just quickly look at the mix and navigate to the group level, and I can see, you know, my kick could be a little louder here, maybe the snares are right, hi-hats might be a little bit hard. One thing I'm just going to quickly do in a hi-hat is set up here a quick, just navigating inside the software for a second. We just set up a filter, we've done this a few times now. You can drag it here as well, just to change the order, set it to high pass, again, turn on resonance. I prefer like a slightly lighter kind of hi-hat. Now, I could have routed all of this stuff using the auxes to another group, for instance, to do some final sort of bus style mastering over this, or I just use the master, because again, I'm looking at this as a sort of like a sound design style project. I'm not going to make this into a full song yet. So now I'm on my master, got that selected. You can see that here on the hardware as well, which is on the master, and we can just add plugins, and we'll just use a couple of non-standard ones here. Just use an alloy. I've done some more tutorials about this, but I just end up using this on drums quite a lot just to get the definition there. If you don't have this, use the transient master a little bit as we did before on the individual hits. You can really bring out a little bit more pop. But in this case, I'm just going to use the isotope alloy. We use the transient page. We enable it like so. I'm not going to use any of the other like equalizer or the exciter or limiter or whatever is in there. I'm just going to use the transient shaper page. We just go to multiband. This creates now 3 different bands split up, as you can see here, which we can all individually influence the attack and sustain of. Now this just sort of comes out, you just get this really sort of boxy transients. We can bring them out a little bit. We can just sort of you know, really overemphasize stuff, really, when you sort of see this without it getting very ticky and toppy at the top end, which is something that I always quite prefer. I'm not going to use it too dramatic at the moment. Also, we can just see now, both on the hardware and here, that because of this, we're now running in the red. So, you know, just by selecting the master here and just running this down, so we're not running in the red anymore. Obviously I could put a limiter at the end, but I want to resample this, so I don't want to limit it too heavily, so that later when I use these sounds resampled, I'm not going to be stuck to my sort of heavily limited samples. It's always easy to limit, but it's hard to unlimit. I'm going to apply one time, you know, just another Pro Cue. Again, could use the standard EQ as well, but this is a, you know, graphic EQ, just a little quicker. We will set this. So we're going to definitely bring out a little bit top end in this. You know, this is just some rough EQing. Obviously, per drums, this will change, and with an analyzer on the side as well, this would help you a lot just to kind of balance your stuff out. But you know, we're going for roughly this. You can see just running slightly into the red again. So just take the mouse a little bit further. All right, so now this is kind of a full drum break. You know, I'm sort of happy with the sound of it, and what I want to do now is resample it into Maschine and then slice it up. That's something that Maschine is quite good at. So let's do that.